Besides, I used to drive an 18-wheeler. You know what I did? That's exactly right. Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years. 4 more years.
All right, guys, so the American people are fed up with the gaslighting from the Biden administration, okay? We live in a world where up is down and down is up, okay? They said that the border is not open, even though it is wide open. They say that inflation was supposed to be transitory, even though it's not. They claim that crime is under control and crime is the lowest it's ever been, even though crime is actually out of control. Basically, whatever Democrats say, you can best believe that the opposite is true, okay? The Democrats have become full-blown reality deniers, okay? And one thing that they are denying reality on that is extremely frustrating is Biden's mental abilities, okay? Because this guy is in such bad shape upstairs that the DOJ basically said, listen, we can't charge him with knowingly taking classified documents, okay, even though he knew it was a crime, he knew what he was doing was wrong. We can't really charge him with it because, well, he is not mentally capable of standing trial, right? That is how much Biden is in bad shape upstairs. And for whatever reason, Democrats want to pretend like it's not a problem, even though the American people know that it's a problem. And this is why it continuously haunts Joe Biden when it comes to his approval rating and in the polls.
Look at these numbers. Trump advantages on all of these traits.
And I stop here because competent and effective, that was President Biden's, the crux of his campaign pitch back in 2020.
And we actually polled this question in 2020, and it was basically the exact opposite. It was Biden with about a 10-point advantage over Trump. And again, same with handling a crisis. Biden had the edge over Trump. And how about this? It's the former president, the current president. We don't really see matchups like this. Well, now we can measure it. Who has the strong record as president? And again, Trump outpacing Biden on that front. And again, you got to mention this one too. Necessary mental and physical health. We asked this 4 years ago. It was a wash. It's now a clear liability for Joe Biden. So these are all troubling numbers for Biden.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? So what you can see there is that American people clearly and obviously are much more concerned about Biden's mental and physical health than Trump's. But for whatever reason, Chris Christie thought that it was a good idea to comment on how Trump doesn't look like he's in good shape physically.
A criminal trial is a really awful thing to go through. And if you look at Trump physically right now, he looks terrible.
Wow. Wow. Just wow. I can't believe that Chris Christie with a straight face commented on how anybody looks physically. Okay, that guy should be the last person to ever comment on how somebody looks physically. Okay, because again, Chris Christie is just not the one to talk. I'm just gonna leave it there. But anyways, we're being gaslit, guys. Okay, that's the point of this video. And people are frustrated. People know that Biden's not in good shape mentally upstairs. He's just not. Okay, and you know, one of his most recent gaffes that really has a lot of people scratching their heads, and we should be asking more questions about it, is the fact that Joe Biden keeps claiming that his uncle died in World War II and was eaten by cannibals, right, after his plane crash, which is just not true, okay? I mean, officials have come out and confirmed that that just didn't happen, and it's like, well, why is the President of the United States making outrageously false claims? And to me, he's either a liar, okay, or there's something wrong, okay? He needs some help. And apparently, again, if you ask about it, according to Cringe Jean-Pierre, then you are making light or you're making a joke out of the situation. And apparently, you're not supposed to ask about what clearly and obviously is the president making false statements about how his family members died.
And I agree. Second Lieutenant Ambrose J. Finnegan was a war hero. But the Pentagon says, for unknown reasons, the plane was forced to ditch in the ocean. Both engines failed at low altitude. Why is President Biden saying he was shot down? There's no evidence of that. And why is he saying that his uncle was eaten by cannibals? That is a bad way to go.
He lost his life. It's not, look, I'm not. We should not make jokes about
It's
this.
not.
Wait.
President Biden said that his uncle was eaten by
I mean,
cannibals.
your last line is it's for a laugh. It's for a funny statement, and he takes this very seriously. His uncle, who served and protected this country, lost his life serving, and that should matter. You have a president that lifts up our U.S. troops, our American veterans, every day, who thinks about them, who actually thinks they're all heroes, and they are. And you have a former president who disrespects that, who doesn't honor that. Said it as president, suckers or losers. That's what he said.
So once again, you have the gaslighting playbook of the Democrat Party, right? Get asked a question directly about some mistake that Biden made that's just inexcusable. Deflect by basically trying to say that you're wrong, you're a bad person for asking the question, and then talk about Trump. That's what Chris Jean-Pierre just did. And this is why the American people like Charles Payne, are sick of this, right? We're sick of it. Biden continues to make these mistakes, inexcusable mistakes, but yet we keep getting gaslit on it, and you're trying to act like we're dumb, right? The Biden administration is trying to pretend like we're dumb and we're bad people for asking the question. And again, that's what is going to lead to this intense argument here on Fox News between Charles Payne and Leslie Marshall, who is basically a Democrat apologist, right? She's going to discuss this issue with Charles Payne, and Charles Payne is going to snap after she basically tries to excuse Biden's clear and obvious mental breakdown. So without further ado, let's get into it.
You know, it's interesting because I saw someone complaining about Donald Trump exaggerating. There's a big difference between exaggerating and just lying. Now, maybe it's memory, but it's one after another. And from the Obama administration, I used to have this tape, this DVD with all Biden gaffes. It was amazing. This next one's going to be like, forget about it. But it is frustrating in the sense that he just does it. The crowd claps. It's never reported on. It's never pounced on. And even not by the mainstream media. No one knows about this unless they watch Fox or a couple other smaller networks. And he's reading this stuff and still getting it wrong. So forgetting about politics for a moment, do you want your commander-in-chief to be someone who can't even read off an index card a few lines in front of a small crowd, looks like a little community, VF office, it doesn't even, it seems almost surreal, like a comedy plot that you would submit to a major network, like, hey, I've got an idea, for a show because it's this president, yada, yada. Now, they may kick you out of the studio and say that's too fantastical, could never happen, but it does not, it seems almost surreal at this point.
I'll let you.
Yeah, and I will add to that in the sense that it's not just MSNBC, CNN, NBC, ABC not covering it, but what they're doing is that they are basically saying, no, you don't understand. Biden's as sharp as ever, right? He is extremely sharp, okay? That's what they'll say.
Are you one of those people who wished he had bowed out, let the field choose somebody else? How do you think about that?
Well, I think that I walk a little similar to him. And the people that I've talked to and everybody that I have say he's as sharp as a tack. He's fine. We all have an issue with memories. As we get older, we forget names, something. He's overcome a stutter in his life, and sometimes he might. But let's just say that his entire cabinet, including his vice president, everybody in his cabinet, would be more than happy to work with him again in the next term. I cannot say that about the other candidate running, because nobody in his cabinet from 2016 wants to be involved with him.
Yeah, so not only will they lie to you and tell you straight up to your face that, yeah, Biden's as sharp as ever, okay, which is just an outrageous lie. Worse than Biden's lies, okay? They'll say, well, no, Trump is actually the one you need to worry about. Trump is the one that has the mental struggles that we should worry about. And then they'll use some example of Trump saying something out of context as evidence and proof, okay? Again, that is the gaslighting from the mainstream liberal media that people are sick and tired of, okay? So it's not just that they're not covering it, but they're also basically just pushing straight propaganda. They're lying to you.
Well, the first thing, when you said there's a difference between exaggeration and a lie, I just had to say, I won the election, you know, it was rigged. Those are some lies.
Well, not really. I mean, that's more of a matter of opinion rather than a lie. I mean, because you have no proof that Trump doesn't believe the things that he's saying, okay? You have no proof that Trump does not sincerely believe that the election was rigged and that it was stolen from him, that he won. You don't have any proof, okay? So you can't really say that he's lying because lying requires intent. If he actually believes the things that he's saying, then he's not really lying. You can say that he's wrong, okay? You can have that opinion, but to say that he's lying, I think is a stretch. Now, with Joe Biden, on the other hand, right, either he's lying, okay, or something's wrong upstairs, because unlike the election, it's not a matter of opinion in regards to, for example, how his son, Beau Biden, died. Okay, Biden keeps claiming that, well, his son died in Iraq. Say, bro, your son didn't die in Iraq. Okay, your son died in the United States. That's not a matter of opinion. Like, Biden's just factually incorrect. Either he's lying or there's something wrong upstairs. I believe there's something wrong upstairs.
And I could go on and on. Look, from my perspective, whenever Joe Biden messes up a word, I hear about it across the board. I don't hear the same with former President Trump. This morning, I did an
he's
interview.
under gag order right now. You're probably not going to hear much.
This morning, I did an interview and a full confession, and I said the people of Pakistan. I didn't say the Palestinian territory, supporters, of Pakistan, not Palestine. Now, in my defense, I had not finished my first cup of coffee, but at the same time, am I demented?
So everyone
Leslie,
this
happens every speech.
It always offends me when people talk to me and us like we're dumb. What you make is such a dumb example. We know what we're not. We're not talking about you or me or her, anyone making an occasional gaffe.
I don't think you're dumb.
We're talking about gaffe after gaffe after gaffe. No, you're not dumb. You're insulting. Gaffe after gaffe after gaffe after gaffe after gaffe.
No, but it's not just a word.
Again, we're talking about Joe Biden claiming that he's meeting with dead leaders. We're talking about Joe Biden not knowing when his son died. Or where, right? Because he continues to claim that his son died in Iraq. Even though his son didn't die in Iraq, okay? Joe Biden is saying things that are just objectively not true, right? These aren't matters of opinion, okay, in which you could agree or disagree with whether or not you believe that the election was fair or whatever. That's opinion. We're talking about Biden just flat out not getting, like, objective truths correct, okay? Like, that is a problem, right? Like, it's not a matter of opinion whether or not somebody's dead. That's not a gaffe that somebody should make. Biden should know that, okay, this person is dead. Let me not talk about meeting with a dead person, okay? We're not talking about Biden making the occasional slip up like everybody does, right? Everybody makes slip ups. Everybody misspeaks, or they'll mix something up every now and then. But if you take away those just like casual slip ups that everybody makes, again, we still have some big problems with Joe Biden, right? We're talking about much bigger issues, and that is why Charles Payne snapped, because he's right. You're playing me like I'm dumb. You trying to pretend like what we're talking about with Joe Biden are just casual slip-up. You're insulting my intelligence. That's exactly what you're doing. But again, this is how the Democrats operate. They insult your intelligence. Corinne Jean-Pierre was insulting your intelligence when she basically told Peter Doocy that, hey, you're making a joke out of it. You're making a joke out of Biden's uncle's death, right? As a response. Again, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They really do think that the American people are dumb. They think that you're stupid. When they come out and tell you that no, crime is down, the border's closed, inflation is not rising, right? They think that you are dumb. Okay? They think that you're dumb. So, I mean, again, I understand his frustration. I really do. Because I get the same frustration. I'm frustrated. Because we have questions about this administration and we can't ever get the questions answered. And when they do attempt to answer the questions, it's nothing but gaslighting. And the American people are fed up with this. They really are.
Words, Rafah and Haifa. Imagine him on the phone with a foreign leader, and he confuses Rafah and Haifa.
It's every day. It's every day. It's something.
It's just a slip of the tongue. It is not just a slip of the tongue. He does it each and every speech. This is why, Leslie, Each and every poll shows the American voters, a majority do not think he has the mental acuity. Even Democratic voters, I've seen polls that show this. So to act like this is a one-off and he's the same as Donald Trump.
I never said it was a one-off. What I'm saying is I think it's normal for people to make gaffes. I use notes when I give speeches.
Okay,
I'm not running for president, but at the same time.
I've known Leslie for a decade, and we still look the same, both of us, by the way. You do a radio show for hours. It's rare for you to mix things up. And I would hope that would be the case because you're good at what you do and your mind is sharp. I'm not so certain that he's good at what he does.
Yeah. So again, it's not about small things, right? It's not about the small things. Nobody is criticizing Joe Biden for occasionally getting a word mixed up or stuttering or tripping up, right? It happens to everybody. Okay. What people are concerned about is the fact that this guy is just getting objective truths wrong, right? He's just not in touch with reality. He's not there. The guy is so out of his element that he is reading parts of a teleprompter that he shouldn't be reading. He has to be given a note card in regards to what to do, when to sit down, when to ask questions, when to leave the meeting, when to start the meeting. Probably has to be given instructions on how to wipe his butt, right? I'm just saying. This guy cannot be running this country. It's not possible. So again, I understand why Charles Payne snapped because, again, she was being very disingenuous, right? It just was not a real conversation. She was not acknowledging the reality of what people are concerned about when it comes to Joe Biden. And they try to downplay it, but you can't downplay the obvious. You can't. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.